This video is about one deliberate shift that changes how people treat you without confrontation, explanations, or effort. If you've ever noticed people interrupting you, testing you, taking liberties, or subtly lowering their respect over time without knowing exactly when it started, this is for you. Most people try to fix that by talking more, explaining themselves, or reacting emotionally, and it only makes things worse. The truth is, power doesn't respond to effort. It responds to perception. Today, you'll see the single action that quietly resets how others position you in their minds. Do it once, properly, and the dynamic changes. Stay until the end, because the mistake most people make with this is subtle, and it ruins the effect. Social hierarchy is shaped by perceived strength, not by volume, effort, or constant action. People are always assessing each other, often without realizing it, looking for signs of calm control or underlying insecurity. Respect forms as a reaction to presence, not persuasion or explanation. Real power is quiet. Aggression usually exposes weakness. The strongest person doesn't plead, justify, or demand. They simply exist as they are. If you want to change your position, don't add more words or behaviors. Remove your predictable reactions. Hold back the emotional responses others are used to seeing. This pause creates space for reassessment and forces people to reconsider you. And in that moment, perception shifts, and with it, your social reality. The game is decided in the silent, unseen arena of perception. The invisible move is a deliberate refusal to react the way others expect. Most social exchanges follow simple, predictable scripts: provocation, defense, validation. When you break that script by withholding your emotional response, the dynamic changes immediately. Don't get angry. Don't explain yourself. Don't appear flustered. Just remain still. This calm, non-reaction unsettles people because it signals that something has shifted beneath the surface. When someone tests you or shows disrespect, let the comment pass with neutral composure. You're not ignoring the person, only their attempt to provoke a reaction. This isn't weakness, it's controlled restraint. By refusing to engage, you reject the premise of the challenge entirely. The withdrawal of your emotional participation becomes a powerful, invisible move. And to the person testing you, it's a clear signal that the hierarchy has changed. What most people miss is that this move only works once. If you do it at the wrong moment, the effect collapses. Silence is not emptiness. It is a clear statement of control. Most people rush to fill silence because they feel uncomfortable inside it. The person who can remain calm in silence quietly controls the interaction. Deliberate silence signals confidence, stability, and composure. This is not the silence of having nothing to say, but the silence of choosing not to speak. That choice shifts the balance of power. While others reach for dominance through words, your quiet presence separates you from the noise. Their attempts to provoke you start to feel awkward and ineffective. The attention slowly turns toward them, exposing their behavior. In that moment, your silence becomes the strongest statement in the room. Humans rely on predictable social patterns. When you withhold the reaction others expect, you disrupt that pattern and create a psychological gap. That gap feels uncomfortable, and it forces people to turn inward and question themselves. They begin trying to understand your composure and what it means. In that moment, you gain control, by doing nothing at all. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's a strategic response to being tested. Emotional discipline unsettles most people. When their attempts to provoke you fail, they begin to see you as more solid, more difficult to move. That perception of inner strength builds real respect. The space you leave unfilled is eventually filled with their restraint and deference. This is also where most people fail, because they mistake restraint for suppression and end up weakening themselves instead. One single act of restraint can permanently change how others see you. People don't remember the many times you followed the pattern. They remember the one time you didn't. That moment becomes evidence of your self-control and inner strength. It stays in the group's memory and quietly reshapes future interactions. You no longer have to ask for respect or push for it. It begins to appear on its own. The doubt you plant grows without effort, influencing how you're perceived from that point forward. Your silence is interpreted as composure. Your directness is read as confidence. By doing less, you gain more. Removing your energy cuts conflict at the root. The memory of your calm becomes a silent signal to others. This invisible move doesn't just change a single moment. It alters your entire social landscape. If this is sharpening the way you see people, you can quietly support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. It helps more than you think. Human beings are wired for emotional reciprocity. When we express emotion, we expect something back. Laughter after a joke, anger in response to an insult, sympathy when we show vulnerability. This call and response pattern sits at the core of how people connect and regulate each other. When you refuse to give the expected reaction, you interrupt that pattern. This deliberate non-reciprocity is deeply disarming. It forces others to recalibrate and adjust themselves to your frame instead of the other way around. The human mind is built to recognize patterns. We feel safest when behavior is predictable and familiar. When a pattern suddenly breaks, it creates alertness and quiet unease. By deliberately breaking your own pattern, you disrupt other people's expectations. Responding with calm where anger is expected introduces uncertainty. That uncertainty becomes a source of power. You begin to be seen as someone who requires respect and careful consideration. In the animal kingdom, unnecessary movement signals anxiety and weakness. The apex predator, in contrast, is defined by stillness, calm, observant, fully in control. That stillness projects confidence and power. Humans recognize this instinctively. When you remain composed under pressure, you signal strength without effort. Others begin to assume that behind your stillness is a deep reserve of power, one they don't need to see, expressed to believe it's there. When you refuse to give the emotional reaction someone expects, you create a vacuum. The other person, ready for a back-and-forth exchange, is suddenly left alone in silence. The attention shifts toward them, pulling them into uncomfortable self-reflection. Their thoughts begin to race. By choosing not to respond, you take control without saying a word. The power dynamic quietly shifts. You're no longer seen as reactive, but as composed and in control, a person who commands respect. Most human interactions operate through subtle emotional exchanges: validation, reassurance, tension, and provocation. To constantly engage in them is to remain tied to emotional debts and unspoken expectations. Restraint allows you to step above that space. You're not suppressing what you feel. You're choosing not to use emotion as currency. Calm neutrality shows that provocations don't land. From this higher position, clarity returns, and the social game becomes visible for what it is. You're no longer just another piece reacting on the board. You're the one observing, steady, and in control. Most people think they've mastered this, until they notice how quickly the urge to explain themselves returns. Predictability gives others control. If people know how you'll react, they know how to manage you. When you master emotional restraint, you become an unknown variable, something they can't easily read or predict. Your calm silence unsettles them and forces them to fill the gap with their own thoughts, fears, and assumptions. In the end, that silence earns more respect than any explanation ever could. There are many ways power can be displayed. Aggression shows the ability to harm. Wealth shows the ability to acquire. But indifference shows something deeper, the ability to remain self-contained and untouched by external pressure. It's the quietest form of authority, and often the most absolute. When you are genuinely indifferent to someone's attempts to provoke you or impress you, you communicate that they have no access to your emotional state. You signal that their judgment, approval, and disapproval hold no weight. In most social power games, this is checkmate. Consider for a moment the relationship between a subordinate and a superior. The subordinate is always watching the superior's reactions, always adjusting their behavior in response, trying to read signals and stay aligned, always trying to earn approval and avoid disapproval. The superior, by contrast, is rarely concerned with how the subordinate feels about them. That imbalance is a central part of the power dynamic. When you respond to a challenge with calm indifference, you're quietly placing yourself in the superior position. You're acting like someone who needs nothing from the other person, and because of that, cannot be controlled by them. But this has to be real, not performed. People are surprisingly skilled at detecting false indifference. When it's forced, it shows up as passive aggression or quiet resentment, which are still emotional reactions. True indifference isn't hostile or cold. It's neutral. It's steady, like the calm of a deep ocean, unaffected by the movement on the surface. It comes from real self-possession, a deep belief that your own judgment of your worth matters more than anyone else's. This isn't something you can pretend to have for long. It has to be built as an inner discipline over time. When people encounter this kind of authentic indifference, their behavior shifts. The entire system they use to gain leverage over you begins to fall apart. They can't control you with praise because it doesn't move you. They can't control you with criticism because that doesn't move you either. With no emotional leverage left, their influence disappears. The only option remaining is acceptance, accepting that you alone decide your internal state. This places them in a position of deference. They're forced to engage with you on your terms, and those terms come from your own steady internal authority. Nothing needs to be said or enforced. It's understood. If you want a deeper, more structured understanding of these dynamics, I've compiled it privately in my ebook. It breaks down power, perception, silence, and human behavior in a way a single video never could. You'll find it linked in the description if you want to study this properly. A person with a truly composed core creates a kind of social gravity. They don't chase others or pull attention toward themselves with noise or effort. Their stillness and self-possession form a center that people naturally move around. This is the highest expression of power through restraint. Your lack of emotional neediness, your refusal to be provoked, and your calm self-sufficiency create a sense of stability. Others feel it, even if they can't explain it. In a world dominated by emotional reactivity, composure becomes rare and valuable. Think about how people act during a crisis. Most grow frantic, loud, and reactive. They look for someone else to provide direction, someone steady enough to lean on. But this kind of composure carries a cost that most people aren't ready to pay. Almost without exception, attention settles on the calmest person in the room. The one who isn't panicking, who's quietly observing with focus, is instinctively seen as the leader. This isn't a conscious choice, it's a biological response. In moments of emotional chaos, people search for composure as an anchor. Whoever holds it is given authority without a word being spoken. The same effect plays out in everyday interactions. By remaining the calm center, you become the emotional reference point for the group. Your lack of reaction gives others permission to steady themselves. When you don't engage in gossip, the energy behind it weakens. When you don't react to a slight, the slight collapses, and the person who delivered it looks exposed. Your restraint quietly sets the tone for everyone else. You're not enforcing rules or correcting behavior. You're embodying a standard that others instinctively adjust to. Your composure becomes the unspoken measure in the room. This is the real outcome of mastering restraint. It's not about winning isolated moments or deflecting occasional challenges. It's about reshaping your entire social presence. You stop reacting to external pressure and become a source of quiet strength instead. Over time, people begin to treat you differently, not only during tension, but in every interaction. They speak with more care. They listen more closely when you choose to speak. This happens because your composed core creates a steady field of respect around you. You've done less, and through that restraint, you've become more. The real shift doesn't happen immediately. It shows up later when people change how they approach you without saying why. The human mind doesn't store all memories equally. It prioritizes moments of surprise and contrast. One unexpected event can outweigh 1,000 ordinary ones. When you withhold a reaction that was expected, you create a clear marker in someone's mind. That moment becomes a psychological anchor. It introduces uncertainty and forces them to reassess who you are. Long after it happens, the shadow of that single event remains, quietly influencing how they see you. Every group, family, friends, colleagues, carries a shared social memory. It's more than individual impressions. It's a collective story that defines reputations. When you remain calm under pressure, you add a powerful chapter to that story. People remember restraint. Over time, your reputation strengthens, and respect follows naturally. The group's memory becomes a kind of shield, discouraging challenges, reinforcing your position, and creating long-term calm. The silent move resets the default of your future interactions. Where you may have once been seen as the weaker side, others now begin to defer without thinking. Your composure signals higher status and removes the need for you to prove anything. The memory of your calm becomes a quiet gatekeeper, filtering out small challenges before they even reach you. And when you do choose to speak, Your words carry more weight. Every future interaction is shaped by the echo of that single moment of stillness. A single act can cast a long shadow, building a reputation for composure that others begin to depend on. That strength is valuable, but it's also fragile. Any slip stands out. To falter isn't just to show weakness, it's to break the expectation you've established. This is the quiet weight of your new position. The behavior can't remain a single performance, it has to become a way of being, an internal discipline, not a momentary act. Consistency is what gives your reputation permanence. The cost of quiet authority is sustained composure, and once you step into this position, there's no returning to who you were before. Invisible power isn't taken through force or persuasion. It's given by others when they sense quiet strength. Everyone feels it, even if almost no one can point to it directly. Its source is mastery over your own emotional reactions. By reacting less, you compel others to reconsider, to respect, to adjust their behavior. Invisible power isn't defined by what you do. It's defined by what you no longer need to do. Quiet authority isn't granted by a title or a uniform. It comes from inner discipline expressed through restraint and composure. This kind of power isn't a mask you put on. It's a natural state, built through self-observation and emotional detachment. Your calm becomes your strength. Your composure becomes your shield. This is not the stillness of weakness, but the stillness of readiness. True control is quiet, but it is absolute. The final insight is this: chasing power over others is a mistake. The only power worth building is power over yourself, mastery of your own inner world. When you reach that point, something subtle happens. The world starts to adjust around you. The respect you once tried to earn begins to arrive on its own. You realize that the most powerful move is often no move at all. Silence can carry more weight than any display of force. You understand that perception shapes reality. People are drawn to strength, and the deepest form of strength is self-possession. All of it begins with one deliberate shift in how you respond under pressure. One choice: to meet provocation with quiet stillness. That is the seed. Everything else grows from there, without force or effort. The effect spreads outward, often unnoticed but felt. You now carry a different level of awareness. You begin to see the game for what it is. And more importantly, you learn how to stand apart from it. You understand the underlying architecture of social power. What you choose to do with that awareness is a quiet decision, one only you can make. If this video brought clarity, support it with a like. If you've lived through a moment like this, leave a comment. If you know someone who's being subtly disrespected without understanding why, share it with them. Subscribe if you want more content like this, and watch the next video. This principle only grows stronger over time.